Hi, it's Clover. Welcome back to my channel and thanks for watching. Today I'm going to talk about love wish lists and what I think about them and what they traditionally are versus what I decided they are for me. So basically, a love wish list of how I perceived it and why I've never done a love wish list in the past is in my head. Other people have these love wish lists, which I know I'm just assuming I know what other people think, but at the same time, I'm also basing that off of conversations that I've had and feedback I've received of people who do have love wish lists. And for me, those kind of wish lists that I think are a little bit silly are the ones where it's like, must be 6 feet or taller, must have perfect teeth, must read a book a week, must, I don't know, love his mom, but like not too much. And my friend and I, who would like to be referred to as Captain Danger, we were talking about dating. We talk about dating a lot because he's currently dating and he is living all over the world, and so he dates in all of these different countries. And he and I are really similar in a lot of ways in that we're very open, and we're both authentic even when it's weird. So we have some really good conversations about dating. And one of the things that he was telling me about after I got back from dating, like the 10th douchebag of 2018, we were talking about how he thinks I need to make a list of all the things that I'm okay with and all the things I'm not okay with, because in the past, whenever I tell him about like a new date that I went on, it's usually I'll base why I like somebody off of how I feel when I'm around them. And his argument was, well, Chloe, you're the type of person who feels comfortable around so many different people. You're the type of person who is able to open up around the wrong type of people as well as the right type of people. And so basing how you feel after the first couple of dates around somebody is probably not as good as deciding, does this person check these boxes before even allowing yourself to have feelings? And I kind of thought that was like, yeah, okay, I see where you're coming from, but like that's just not going to work for me. And I said it sounded like a lot of work, and it felt like it was taking dating and making it more prescriptive, which, I don't know, didn't sound like fun. But after talking about it for a while and kind of realizing that I do kind of just base things off of how I feel, and it's really not working for me, I decided to say screw it and try making a list. And my list is not, like, it doesn't have anything about how tall somebody has to be or, how much money they make or what they do for a living or what they like to do even. My list was a little bit more different than I was expecting. And I have my blog post pulled up right here for those of you who don't like to read. So I had a lot of things on my list that I didn't put in this blog post because, things like being nice isn't something that I felt like I had to explain, or, being empathetic or things like that. But the things that actually surprised me are what I put out on here. And so my very first thing, and what's really, really important to me, I discovered is I need somebody who's a nurturer. And this surprised me, and it wasn't something I would have originally put on a list because I hadn't really thought about it until a recent conversation I had with a friend's stepmom at a baby shower. Super random, but she and I were talking about being nurturers versus being receivers, and I realized I have been a nurturer my whole life. Like, that is my natural state of being, is being a nurturer and putting other people first. And for the first time in my life, I've been less of a nurturer because I don't want to focus on other people right now in a way that I have to take care of other people. My last relationship, definitely ended partially because we both really needed nurturers. We needed people who were going to put us first and who were going to, you know, be there when we needed them and always be emotionally available and always, you know, be the person that we could vent to. But both of us were these high stress, high anxiety, highly ambitious people who needed each other to listen, but we also needed to vent. And so it didn't work. Like two people coming home and venting to each other when one person just needs to be heard, when each person really just needs to be heard and the other person doesn't have the capacity to listen because they're so focused on what they're doing, I mean, it doesn't work. So it's kind of interesting to realize, like, that's because we both needed nurturers. We needed to be receivers of support that we weren't getting from each other. And that's, you know, oversimplifying why we broke up and what was wrong with our relationship. But that was like a major point of contention between both of us, is because he wanted somebody who was going to be there waiting at home, ready to listen to his stressful day. But listening to his stressful day stressed me out and made me really resentful because I wanted to do that. I wanted to come home and bitch to somebody and say, listen to my day and like, here's all the shit that I gotta do and I don't know how to do it and I'm overwhelmed. But he couldn't do that for me either because he was stressed out and overwhelmed. So I'm ready to be a receiver. But what's interesting is I don't know if I can be a receiver, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Somebody doing something for me makes me kind of uncomfortable, and I immediately feel like I have to do something in return, and it's really hard for me to just receive because I feel guilty when somebody like does anything for me. So that's my own shit, and I'm trying to figure out how to like be in a place where I can receive, because I know like I can't be a nurturer right now for a partner. Not that like I'm permanently not a nurturer, it's just I resent having to be a nurturer right now, if that makes sense. It probably sounds really selfish, but at the end of the day, I don't know why it's more selfish for somebody to say, I want to focus on what I want to do, and I don't want to help somebody else achieve their dreams right now. I want to achieve my own, and then maybe someday I'll be able to help somebody else achieve theirs, if that makes sense. It's like, I think often we think that being selfless is a better trait and a better characteristic. But I think that sometimes when you force yourself to be selfless, there's a lot of resentment that builds. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm ready to put myself first. So anyway, I'll get off that tangent because this video can't be too long. So I'm working really hard to unlearn how to be a nurturer, and I'm also learning how to become more selfish in a way that I do accept other people's help. And I'm working on it. So anyway, my number 2, and this is a huge one, is I don't want to date somebody who needs like me to be their therapist. And it's very similar to like the nurturing point. But it takes it a step further, because like if I'm going to be with somebody, I need to know that they have worked through their shit so that they don't dump it onto me. There's the more that I've worked on myself and the more that I have figured out my own shit, it's really easy for me to spot when someone blames the world for their problems. And I can't really put up with that anymore. Like, you can be fucked up and be okay with that, but like, we're not gonna ever date, because the thing is, when somebody blames the world for their problems, they are never going to look inward and think, what was my role in this conflict? What was my role in this fuck up? What was my role in XYZ, or this breakup, or this fight? They don't think that way because they're so busy blaming the world for their problems that they're not going to change themselves or even consider the fact that they might have been at fault in some way. That isn't going to work for me because I do that so much. I think, well, what was my role in this? How could I have prevented this? Why did I do this? Or was this the right move? And things like that. And I've gotten to a place where it's like at a healthy level, but if I dated somebody who blamed the world for their problems and doesn't take care of their own shit, that puts me in a place where I'm going to be really susceptible to gaslighting. And gaslighting, for those of you who don't know, is basically when somebody flips the tables on you and makes you believe you were the one who was in the wrong, or you were the one who was crazy, or you were the one who made them do this. Like, if you've seen Netflix's You, that whole show is about gaslighting, basically, where, you know, this man sees a woman in a bookstore and he thinks, you wanted me to see you. You wanted me to find you because look at what you're wearing. Look at what you post on the internet. Look at like how you have marked every second of your day on Instagram, and it's bullshit. It's basically you start questioning what you do because this person cannot own their own shit and cannot even like begin to fathom that there was something that they were doing that was wrong. So, not gonna date somebody who needs a mom or who needs a therapist. I need somebody who has owned their own shit and has handled it. So, third one on the list, and the last one for this video. I used to say that somebody's politics didn't matter, and that you could still be compatible even if you were vastly different politically speaking, and that's just not the case for me anymore, especially with the current political situation and having Trump as a president and having to face a world where my own rights are actually at risk. I can't date someone who is going to march against me. I need to date someone who's going to march with me and knows the importance of these things and knows and is aware of all the ways that our society is fucked up, that our government has structural issues that are so deep that it's going to take a really long time to overcome a lot of this systematic racism and sexism and just the gaslighting in of itself that the government does towards its own citizens. It's not something that I can do anymore, is date somebody who has vastly different values and beliefs than me. And I've done it in the past and it didn't work. So that is definitely important to me. I need someone who's a feminist, I need someone who's progressive, and I need someone who's liberal. So, those are my deal breakers, and I guess kind of my deal makers if you look at the opposites. And it's interesting because it probably seems like a lot, but I would rather be alone than budge on these things. And the thing is, dating isn't that high on my priority list. I'm relatively happy being single. Like, I'm actually very happy being single, and really the only reason I would get into a relationship is if it added to my life. And these things would drain me. Having the opposite of these things would drain me, and I don't have time for that. I'm hustling, and I'm working hard, and I've improved myself, and I want to keep on that path. So, yep. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope that was helpful for those of you who don't want to read the post or who want to hear a little bit more about what my thinking is. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you've been reading Clobear or watching these videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button below or follow me over at my blog, clobear.com. So thanks for watching. Oh, and put your deal breakers in the comments. I'd be really curious what your deal breakers are. I was getting ready to put the stop button and I was like, you know what, I actually really want to know what your deal breakers are and what your like boundaries are. What I realized with this list is these are my boundaries. Like, this is a good start. And there's other things too on my list, but like these are so important, and it'll be interesting to see how they change. So anyway, thanks guys.